Hi, I know this looks strange, but you're actually at the right place. Before I do a reading today, I just wanted to do a soundbite from one of my favorite movies, Ghostbusters. Vince, you said before you were waiting for a sign. What sign are you waiting for? Gozar the Traveler. He will come in one of the pre-chosen forms. During the rectification of the Valdrandi, the Traveler came in the form of a large and moving Tor. Then, during the third reconciliation of the last of the McKentrick's applicants, they chose a new form for him, that of a giant slore. Many Shubs and Zools knew to what is to be roasted in the depths of the slore that day, I can tell you. All right, so, now we'll get to the book. We left off and we're about to take a nature hike with my mother, and she may have taken off her clothes. Every single one of us is born into this world naked, she says, unbuttoning her clothes. That's just about the only thing every person on this earth has in common. It's nature. It's natural. It's beautiful. Take off your clothes. Let yourself remember how good it feels. Am I right? It does feel good to be naked in nature, Chris says, speaking for all of us. That's right, sweetheart, Mom says, gently tucking a flower behind her daughter's ear. On several occasions, we wear nothing but shoes and maybe our backpacks. We hike naked through the countryside for hours. Even out in the middle of nowhere, my mother can somehow manage to get noticed. On one such nature walk, we're suddenly buzzed by a single-engine plane that flies directly over us. We see it circle back and descending to get a better look at the naked people on a family stroll. Mom shakes her tits at the pilots and yells, "Fuck off," which in all fairness is a mixed message. The plane disappears, but not for long. Purvey the pilot takes one more pass. This time Mom orders us to scatter and hide. The plane approaches slow and low, but not so he can see us, so we can see him. He must have been kneeling on the seat. His dick and balls are hanging out the window and flapping violently in the wind. We're on the ground laughing. You can't unsee shit like that. Weird things happen around our mother, and what's weirder is that we're already kind of used to it. It wasn't until much later in life I found out our mother was taking drugs at this time. Drugs were not part of my world, and I knew very little about them. When John went out of town on a business trip, she had 3 girlfriends come over to spend the night. After dinner, the kids had ice cream, and they dropped acid for dessert. While everyone else was doing their own thing, Chris and I followed the sound of our mother and her friends' laughter through the woods. We spied on them and couldn't grasp why they were acting so silly. Then they noticed a fire in the field across the road. Chris and I crept closer to see what was going on. We watched a man sprint to open a metal gate, releasing what seemed like 1,000 hogs. They were frantic and bolted off in all directions. Chris and I immediately turned and ran for the nearest tree we can climb. We looked down at the stampede of pork rambling below us. The fire was eventually put out, and men on horses arrived to round up the animals. Chris was too frightened to come down at first. I had to climb down and scout it out before she would follow me home. The next day, when we confessed to our mother that we were nearly trampled to death by giant hogs, she laughed. We had to run for our lives too, and then my girlfriends couldn't believe that real cowboys showed up to save the day. We're fine, Chris says. We climbed a tree, I add. Our mother is already on to another thought. Chris looks at me and we roll our eyes at each other. One of her girlfriends must have slept with one of the cowboys that night because there was a guy we didn't know who joined us for breakfast the next day. There's a good-sized feral cat we inherit with the ranch. Over time, our mother is able to hand-feed the shy animal and even pet her, though she won't come near the rest of us. As the 2 creatures bond, the cat starts sharing pieces of its prey with her. With every kill, be it a rat, mole, gopher, squirrel, lizard, snake, bird, or jackrabbit, yes, jackrabbit, the cat leaves portions on the doormat. Instead of being disgusted, my mother is fascinated with these pile of goo she calls offerings. I wonder what she's telling me when she leaves a bird's wing and a heart. She's just sharing, I say, shrugging my shoulders. It's much more poetic than that. It's a sign. She's probably telling me to set my heart free. This epitomizes my mother. She's constantly looking for signs to align and confirm her wide-eyed view of life. When her back is turned, I give her the finger. Ha! What do you think of this sign? She catches me. My face turns red. But she laughs quickly, and just like that, I'm off the hook. The cat gets pregnant and fat, but it can still down a goose. Mom sets up a place in the barn for her to have babies, and when it's time, she takes us there to witness the birth. We've never seen the miracle of new life come into the world, and it turns out to be way more disgusting than I ever imagined. But once the kittens are out of their little pink sacks and licked clean, they're the absolute cutest things we've ever seen. Mom begins to cry. What's wrong? Asks Chris. Nothing. Everything is perfect. You're learning about the circle of life, and it's beautiful. She hugs all of us, and we proceed to fall in love with the tiny blind babies. We assume we'll be keeping all the kittens since we live on a giant ranch, and their mother can practically down a deer to take care of her litter. We'll stop there for today. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on another edition of Tom's Page Turning Tuesdays.